Nika here with your second daily neuro nugget of today. By the way, it's a Sunday and we are here ready to talk about this Amazon Prime docu-series about Idaho 4, right? Some revelations, some contradictions found in season 1, episode 3. This docu-series, for those of you who have watched it or are curious where to find it, it's on Amazon Prime. It is called One Night in Idaho, the college unalivings, basically. I just finished doing the review for episode 2 in the previous live, and then yesterday I did 1. Total 4 episodes. This is episode 3. By the way, if you are in here, make sure that you leave a like, leave a comment, make sure that you are subscribed to get notifications, and make sure that you say hi in the chat. Remember, guys, this is like a sacred day for me. I normally do not upload on weekends, so yeah, leave a like. So episode 3 starts off with the arrest of Brian Christopher Kohberger on December 30th, right? So no one knows him. He is a random person from Pullman. And in this episode, we hear Chief Fry say in the arrest to the whole community, we have a person in custody who committed these crimes. We have a person in custody who committed these crimes, okay? He didn't even bother to say alleged. And this was like December 30th, bro, right? And then we hear the journalist say what we already knew all along, what the 4chan theory even mentioned in the early days, that they were going to try to pin this on an outsider because it would just be, it'd be too much. It would be too emotional for people to realize if the criminal was one of their own, right? So the journalist says, thank God it was not one of our own. It would have destroyed us. It would have destroyed us. And I'm like, okay, it would have destroyed us, as if it was like perfect in Idaho, right? We know all the horrible things that happen in Idaho all the time. By the way, did you guys just see, that reminds me, ADD, what happened in Idaho? 4 people unalived. And I'm gonna get to that because that's scary. They were schmurdered, basically. So they never wanted it to be one of their own, right? And they say, yeah, this is such a relief, right? It's such a relief because, like, this guy's from the East Coast, you know? He's an outsider. Phew. Only people on the East Coast do things like this. Phew. And again, I'm like, is everybody here fucking stupid? I'm sorry, I'm French. I'm sorry. Is everybody here dumb? Is everybody in Idaho naive? Like, all you have to do is literally know how to use Google and you'll see all the shit that's happening in Idaho. So why are we still pretending that this is only East Coasters commit crimes, right? Now, in episode 3, we also see Kohberger's previous classmates, right? One of them was Josh Ferraro, and Josh said he met Kohberger at DeSales in a biology class, and he said BK was just standing there, quiet in his leather jacket, and Josh approached him and asked him if he wanted to be his partner, right? Now, pay attention to the small details that people share, because that's exactly bias. That is exactly showing how they feel or how they're trying to portray Brian Kohberger. There was no need for Josh to say, oh my God, he was wearing a leather jacket. He was like so quiet. Like, why are you trying to paint him as weird? Why are people still trying to do that? The man is autistic, okay? Diagnosed per the neuropsychological evaluation that was released to all of us in the legal documents, right? What I found interesting was that Josh actually said he was actually a pleasure to be around. He was actually a pleasure to work with. And he was detail oriented, and he was extremely intelligent. Okay, these are two people that are getting their degrees in psychology, and this guy's saying he was a stand-up guy, pleasure to be around with. Do you think that if a man is weird, as people try to paint him, as socially awkward, incel, aka Elliot Rodgers' twin, do you think that another man would say he was a pleasure to be around and work with? I don't think so. I think men, just like women, can pick up on awkward people, like the real oddballs, right? And he says that he even invited him to a party. I'm like, oh, so then he wasn't that weird. Then where are all these people saying he was so weird, he was so weird, he was so socially awkward? Would you invite somebody to a party if you thought that they were so weird, so creepy, if they were incels, and if you thought they had problems with women? Would you invite them to a party? I don't think so. Now, Josh Ferraro, Kohberger's classmate, said he just seemed to be like a lonely guy, right? And he actually turned down the party invitation. But again, when Josh is describing Mr. Kohberger, he is describing the life of most autistic individuals, or a lot of people that are neurodivergent, like myself. Like, we go to work and we work our behinds off. We're not there to make friends. We're not there to be besties with people. We go, we get the job done, and then we come back, and then maybe we work another job, right? We are very rigid with our routines. Like, it's what we do. It's what we do. And they're like, yeah, he never really allowed himself to be known by people. Like, he was just always like at school, and then he would just leave. It's like, not everybody wants to stay and mingle with their classmates or their coworkers or whatever. Some of us have shit to do, right? So again, Mr. Kohberger was on the spectrum, so a lot of people who are on there don't want to do things that are outside of their routine. It messes with their routine. If he was going to school and then working, maybe that was his routine. Why would you go to a party? Especially if you're on the spectrum. A lot of people that I've worked with that were on the spectrum don't like to go outside of their comfort zone. They want their routines in place, right? So then we have another classmate of Kohberger's in episode 3, and her name was Brittany Slavin. What does that have to do with anything? What are you talking about? That has nothing to do with anything I just said, right? Now, Brittany Slavin said that they saw him as the smarter student, which again, if I psychoanalyze it, most people who are on the spectrum are usually seen by neurotypicals as being more cerebral. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but autistic people are often seen as more cerebral. Neurodivergent people are often seen as more cerebral. That's just how it goes, babe. Sorry, my leg is stuck. Ugh. And she says, yeah, he was just so smart. He was also so intelligent, you know? And they were both forensic psych majors. Now, then we see in episode 3, the ISP chief say that they got a bolo for a white Hyundai Elantra, but they were told it was LE sensitive. Now, here is where it gets a little weird, right? Because the same chief goes on to say, LE sensitive means you do not distribute it beyond LE, meaning only law enforcement can see this bolo for this white Hyundai Elantra, right? And they go on to say, yes, this was only for the eyes of law enforcement, and one of the officers from campus was driving around and turned in Brian Kohberger's car. But this is where it also gets weird, because we've all heard of Eric Gower, and Eric Gower did an interview where he supposedly mentioned spending a week looking for white elantras. Sir, why in the fuck are you looking for white elantras if supposedly this bolo was only supposed to be shared with law enforcement? How did you know about it? Because you're not law enforcement and your wife is not law enforcement either. A lot of people have said, well, his wife was a cop. No, she wasn't. She was a basic office lady. Like, no offense to basic office ladies, but she was not a cop. So again, if it's sensitive to law enforcement only, why do we have Eric Gower like intentionally putting himself into this investigation saying, I'm gonna take off time off of work right after the crime, right? Of course, it's gonna take a week off of work. Is it because you didn't want to see, like, you know, you didn't want the cops to see your potential wounds? My conspiracy theory, right? But how did he know about it? Again, this was supposed to stay within law enforcement. So why do we have Eric Gower, who works at U of I, who's literally just like a driver, allegedly? Why was he so invested into finding a white elantra? It's a little bit weird. Now, they also mentioned Papa Roger. They go down the Papa Roger rabbit hole. And all the weird questions that Papa Roger was posting on the Facebook page. And in episode 3, we see the 2 Facebook ladies that ran this account where Papa Roger was posting to. It was like a crime sleuthing account. And they said, yeah, he just kept posting, and we thought that it was Brian because he just kept posting and asking really weird questions. And they said that a lot of the questions that Papa Roger was posting were very similar to Brian Kohberger's Reddit survey, right? And for example, Papa Roger said, how did the unaliver leave the scene? Did you clean up at all? Meanwhile, Kohberger said in his Reddit survey, how did you leave the scene? Before leaving, is there anything else you did? So they're basically saying Brian Kohberger is Papa Rogers. Well, a lot of us who've been keeping tabs on this, we understand that this account was actually active after Kohberger was arrested. So who is running the account? Was it Kohberger? Was it the other Rogers? We all have heard of Jack Showalter, which has a middle name, who has a middle name of Rogers, right? Now, his first post was on November 30th, right? And Papa Rogers posted, of the evidence released, the murder weapon has been consistent as a large fixed blade knife. This leads me to believe they found the sheath. The evidence was released prior to the autopsies, right? And people, the 2 women running this account were like, oh my God, this was on November 30th. What the fudge? We even hadn't heard anything about the sheath. And I'm like, no, that's a damn lie. That's another contradiction in episode 3, because actually the sheath has been a rumor since November 14th, 2022, as somebody had posted that a law enforcement friend told them a sheath was found. So who within law enforcement is sharing all this information that should not be leaked? I want to know who is sharing this information with these people, right? Not Papa Rogers. I'm referring to the person who posted about the sheath on November 14th. Was it Payne? Was it Mary? Were they leaking information to somebody they thought they trusted? I don't know. But on November 16th, local media also interviewed a knife shop owner who said cops were looking for K-bar knife sales. So, it was a lot of people basically saying, most definitely Papa Roger was Brian Kohberger. And then they mentioned the picture. We've all seen the picture of what appears to be AI. What is it? A Russian soldier for Papa Rogers. It's like that, to me, I suppose I can see the resemblance, but to me, it doesn't look like Brian Kohberger whatsoever. And if somebody was trying to pin this on Kohberger, why wouldn't they create an account with something similar to his public information, similar to his Reddit posts, similar to his side profile, potentially, right? So just keep that in mind, because I've found that so many people trust the government, like overly trust the government. I have no idea why. I was in the military, I was active duty. I have family members who are law enforcement, but I'm not gonna put my blind faith in the government, okay? Because I've worked for the government, okay? I know what goes on behind the scenes. It's not all good. So for people to say, the government would never, babe, you need to go to the CIA.gov website and look at all the documents that have been released. The things that we used to do as the government, as the FBI, as the CIA, as several other three-letter agencies, the things that we have done on our civilians without their consent, right? So go educate yourself if you're one of those people that, well, whenever you need cops, you know, whenever you need the help of cops or whenever you need the help of the government, they're not gonna help you. Good, because I don't need their help, right? I try to be self-sufficient. So either way, guys, this was it for the Amazon Prime One Night in Idaho Revelations episode 3. Let me know if you watched it. Let me know what you thought about it. And at some point in time, because I'm kind of overheating right now, legit, I will come on here and do episode 4. Please leave a like. Please leave a comment. If you watch this, let me know what are some things I missed in this episode regarding contradictions, because I'm sure I missed something, right? So you guys have a wonderful weekend and hope to see you soon for episode 4. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.